Check it.
What is up, guys? Welcome to another video, and today we are back with some more Forza Horizon 3, and today we're going to go ahead and talk about all the E3 news which has dropped. Now, in this trailer, we're not going to go ahead and break down what actually happened in the trailer. I don't think I'm going to do that at all. I think what I'm going to go ahead and do is go through all the news that dropped in the huge article on ForzaMotorsport.net shortly after it was released and, well, announced, sorry, at the E3 conference, which has literally just happened. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get straight into the news. So, as you guys may already be aware, Forza Horizon 3 set in Australia. A lot of people predicted it would be in Australia beforehand, and, well, turns out they were right. So, Australia is going to be the setting for the new Horizon. As well as that, it's going to be twice the size of the of Forza Horizon 2's map. So, Horizon 2, I'm pretty sure, was like double the size of Horizon 1, and this is double the size of Horizon 2. So, you know, it was to kind of be expected it was going to be larger. But not only that, the landscapes they have are really interesting, and you can probably see that in the trailer in the background, which I'm playing right now. You know, it's really diverse landscapes they've got in the game, and I can personally appreciate that from a gamer's standpoint, and kind of like a designer standpoint too. It looks pretty goddamn cool. Now, as well as that, Forza Horizon 3 is going to launch on Xbox One and Windows 10 on September 27th, and there's also going to be an early access kind of period for those who pre-order the Ultimate Edition, and we'll talk about that towards the end of the video when we talk about the different versions. But that's the basic bottom line for Horizon 3 in terms of the platforms, the dates, and the setting. Now we're going to go ahead and talk about some of the more diverse details like the garage, the customization, etc, etc. So within this article, it does outline that there's going to be more than 350 cars in the game, obviously including the cover car, the Lamborghini Centurino, or Centurino, or however you say it, which was revealed at the Geneva Motor Show in March. And that's obviously the cover car, along with, I think there's like another rally car or something across those lines on the cover too, and I'll show that a bit later. And alongside that, there's also going to be the barn finds, which you usually see in Horizon games, which is pretty cool. So the mix of that is kind of pretty cool. I like how they're really pushing the off-roading. Initially I kind of had mixed feelings on it, but it looks like they're doing it in the right way. You know, they're doing it with off-road cars. They're not just saying, oh, here's your standard Horizon list of cars and go ahead and use them off-road. You know, they're giving you purpose-built cars, and they're also giving you purpose-built customization parts for rally cars. So that is something which I can really appreciate, and that's something that gets me really hyped. So I'm really happy with how they're going around that. And again, there's more customization news later on in the video. Now, as well as that, it's also going to be on Windows 10. How can you forget that? So that means up to 4K resolution, I believe, on Windows 10, which is going to be pretty cool indeed. And that, obviously, if you have got 4K capable hardware, it's a pretty cool thing by itself. So that's going to be pretty cool. And now, as well as that, there's also going to be a custom 12K HDR camera rig set in the game. So, you know, in the camera mode, it's going to be 12K. Now, you've got your 2K monitors, you've got your 4K monitors, and then you've got your 12K cameras, and that's some next level shit. So, you know, to think that the pictures that you take are going to be rendered in 12K, pretty goddamn cool if you ask me. So, if you're a photo guy and that's just what you do on Forza games, or even just racing games generally, you're going to be really happy to find out that there's going to be a 12K HDR camera in Forza's camera mode, which again is pretty goddamn awesome. Now, as well as that, usually in Horizon games, you're not the head of the festival initially. Horizon 2 was a bit of a weird one, but you know, initially you're not actually head of the festival. When you start the game, you're usually going under someone else's under control. They control the festival, they control where you go to. This time, you're in charge, so you control the festival, you control I'm assuming where you go to, what the goal is, etc, until you win fans and become the most popular festival in the world. That is what it's described as on the article. So I think that's pretty goddamn cool. Alongside that, there's a new feature called Horizon Blueprint. So, Horizon Blueprint essentially allows you to take hundreds of pre-created events in Forza Horizon 3 and customize them to your specific kind of specifications, I guess. So, say you want to do a race, you know, from the center of the Australian map to the outskirts where it's dirt roads. You can do that, and then you can specify what car class you want to do it in, you know, some stuff like across those lines. So essentially, you can create your own Horizon. You know, you can create everything to the races, even to the soundtrack, and again, we'll talk about that in a minute, you know, to the bucket list events. But if you don't want to, there's also presets you can use. So that's pretty cool, I think, you know, the fact that they're giving you this kind of, you know, freedom for the event, so you can either use the preset ones or create your own ones. I think that's pretty goddamn cool. And then obviously you can share these events with friends, and that leads to a whole bunch of creative opportunities for players. So I personally think that's really, really cool. As well as that, you also have the option to hire and fire your friends, and this kind of comes under the Horizon blueprint. So obviously you're boss of the Horizon Festival, and your goal is to earn fans for the festival and become the most popular festival in the world. This means that you're going to be able to attract the best drivers to help you on your journey to becoming the most popular festival in the world. That's where drivatars come in. Drivatars will have a huge impact in the Forza experience for Forza Horizon 3, and they're going to be able to uniquely build your Forza Horizon 3 experience, which means you can either hire or fire your friends' avatars, or drivatars even. That adds a really cool dynamic to the whole situation, and as well as that, you also will get obviously rewards from your friends playing alongside you. So I'm assuming you'll probably get more money the more people you have on board. So it's a cool feature, but it's definitely not the one I'm most excited about. The one I'm most excited about is the customization. So as you guys know, I love customization. It's something which I've been asking for Forza for ages. And guess what? They delivered. There's going to be Rocket Bunny kits. There's going to be Liberty Walk kits. As well as that, there's also going to be many more rim styles from Rotiform, 1552, ADV, I think it's .1. Loads of things. You know, wide body kits alone is enough for me to just go, wow. You know, they were in the trailer. There was a Liberty Walk M4. There was a Liberty Walk GTR. I cannot wait to build myself a Rocket Bunny BRZ. That's going to be sick. Overall, I've got to say, the customization was the one thing where they really wowed me. Thinking about it now does kind of get me a bit hyped. But again, I'm kind of cautiously optimistic, and I'll talk about that in a separate video. But the customization looks amazing. Not only is it just going to be for kind of like the JDM-esque cars, you know, like the Liberty Walk kits and the Rocket Bunny kits, but there's also going to be rally customization. So, you know, for certain cars, there's going to be certain off-road parts which you can add. So I'm assuming for like the Evos and stuff, there's going to be loads of rally choices you can pick to make it look like a bit more of a rally car, which is cool. And that's what I like about it. You know, they haven't just focused on the Liberty Walk stuff. They've also focused on the rally stuff. They've also, you know, I'm assuming there's going to be like rally art stuff in the game, something across those lines, you know, and that's really cool. I like how they haven't just blocked out one, you know, demographic with the customization. They've included everyone, and that's something I can really appreciate. Obviously, the breadth of the customization is still yet to be seen, and that will be seen in the coming weeks as we see more information about Horizon. But initially, from what I've heard about the customization, I absolutely love it. Now, it only gets better from here. So essentially, in Horizon, you're also going to be able to choose your own soundtrack. So in Horizon 3, you will be able to listen to your own music using the Groove radio station, which will play personal tracks from, you know, your personal playlist using the cloud. Now, again, not much has been released on how this is going to work. It's going to use your OneDrive music, so that's kind of like the Microsoft cloud system, which, you know, you can Google that if you want to. It's just basically Google Drive, but Microsoft's version. So that's pretty cool. You're going to be able to play your own MP3s, I'm assuming, and that's going to be going to the Groove radio station. But as well as that, you're also going to have a shit ton of radio stations normally in the game. So if you don't want to go to the extent to upload your own, there's going to be a hell of a lot for you to do, or a hell of a lot of music for you to listen in the stock, you know, soundtrack. So from my perspective, I really like that they've added that. I think that's really, really cool. I'm going to start stocking up on my OneDrive playlist, and I'm going to start getting some songs on there, and that adds a completely new feel to it. You know, you can make your own Horizon playlist. This is literally your Horizon to its fullest, and I really like that. It seems more like a general manager game than it does a racing game, which is kind of cool in a way. You know, that the fact you're the kind of the general manager of this Horizon festival, and that kind of prospect is unique. It's not something we've seen before, so I can really, really appreciate that. So that's pretty goddamn cool as well. Now, as well as that, they're also bringing back some cool features which were in previous Forza games, and again, this just gets me more excited for Horizon 3. So firstly, the auction house is back, and this is one thing which really, really made me happy. You're now able to buy and sell cars again. You know, you've got the whole buying and selling wraps, and it just adds a whole new dynamic to the game. So The auction house is back, and storefronts are back, and that's just the best thing ever. In the storefront, you can actually show off your latest creations, including liveries, tuning setup photos, custom vinyls, etc, etc, and then you'll be informed every time someone else creates a new design. So it just allows you to follow your favorite content creators. Say they make a car in a video and you want to download that car, you can do that, and that's just cool. That's just a cool thing to have. So the storefront and the auction house are in the game, and that's a really, really cool feature to see. Again, that got me really, really happy. And as well as that, you can now cross-play between Xbox One and PC, and if you buy a Forza Horizon 3, it doesn't matter on what platform you get it on, you can play it on either platform. So if you buy it on PC, that means you also own it on Xbox One, and you can play on Xbox One, and vice versa. So again, they've just knocked it out of the park. As well as this, there's also going to be 4-player campaign co-op, which was kind of shown in the E3 demo, which was really cool. And there's a whole bunch of new features. Car clubs are coming back, car meets are back, seamless multiplayer with no lobbies. There's going to be playground games in multiplayer. So there's a new mode called Flag Rush, which again hasn't really been explained, but that's in the article. There's just a lot of new stuff, which I cannot wait to see at full release, and in the demo, which will release probably around in a month's time, because that's what Forza usually do. Finally, we'll now talk about the pre-order bonuses and the different kind of versions of the game you can buy. So there's going to be the normal edition of Forza, there's going to be the deluxe edition of Horizon 3, and the ultimate edition of Horizon 3. So I'm going to bring up a graphic now of what is included in each one. So as you can see, the higher up you go, the more content you get. You'll actually get some content for the previous Forza games, which is a bit of a weird tactic. I'm not personally a fan of that, but you know, if you do pre-order it, you're going to get that. As well as that, there's also certain car packs which are already going to be sold for Horizon 3, which I don't like. Again, the whole idea of on this DLC just doesn't excite me. But you can see there's a whole lot of content you're going to get. If you get the Ultimate Edition, you're going to get everything. You're going to get the car pass, the VIB membership, as well as early access, which is going to be on the 23rd of September. So a few days earlier, I guess. Pretty cool if you want to go in and do it. I'm probably going to end up getting it because, again, I'm going to make content on it. So it's something to look out for, really. And, you know, pretty cool. Just a pretty cool thing to do. I'm not a fan of the On This DLC, though, you know, with the Forza Horizon 3 Motorsport All-Stars pack. Just not a fan of how that works, really. But besides that, everything else is pretty cool. As well as that, there's also going to be pre-order cars from certain retailers. These pre-order cars include the 488 GTB, the SRT Hellcat, the R8 V10 Plus, the Jaguar F-Type, the C63S Coupe, and the Mustang GT350R. And again, links will be down in the description to go ahead and see where you want to pre-order from for the specific car that you may want. Now, as well as this, they are also rewarding people who have played the most recent Forza games and Forza games from further back than that. Essentially, if you guys remember, you remember all the way back to Horizon 2, and even I think Forza 6 did this. They will give you certain cars depending on how much Forza you play, and this is part of Forza rewards. So as long as you've logged into Forza rewards, you've redeemed all your Forza rewards, that kind of stuff, on day one you will get whatever car depending on what tier you're in. Now I'll put all the cars on the screen now so you can go ahead and read through them if you want to. As well as that, you also get the cars at the bottom of the screen, which include the 2014 Local Motors Rally Fighter and the 2017 Ford Raptor, depending on if you've played Horizon 2 or Forza Motorsport 6. And finally, to end off the video, this is the cover. This is the cover art for the game, as you can see. Looks pretty goddamn interesting, very, very clashing indeed. But I've got to say, I think it works pretty goddamn well. What is your guys' thoughts on Forza? Personally, I'm cautiously optimistic. I don't want to get too hyped until the demo comes out, and again, we'll see that come in the next coming months. And again, if you want to go ahead and see more Forza gameplay, this is the place to be. So make sure to go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. I'm going to go ahead and upload a lot more Forza content over the next coming weeks and months to come, and even like years, if I haven't been run over at that point. But, you know, this is the place for Forza content, so go ahead and subscribe. I will see you guys in the next one. You guys have been awesome. Stay safe, and peace.